Mea culpa for not making a real episode this week. My name is Dylan Flynn.
I'm Trevor Ickrap. Here is the second official emergency episode of Hallelujah Monkeyz, because there will be no proper episode of Hallelujah Monkeyz this week, unfortunately.
What an emergency this is, Trevor.
Yes, the emergency this time being that I just do not have time to record this weekend.
And I think it worked out actually kind of nicely. We just finished the season. We've got a little bit of a lull here. And frankly, you know, when you came to me saying, I don't know if I can do it this weekend, my first thought was, I wouldn't mind a week to kind of have a little staycation, a little Hallelujah Monkeyz staycation.
All shows take breaks in between their seasons, right?
Of course, yes, absolutely. I mean, I think maybe there was a moment there where America's Next Top Model was just cranking them out without taking a breath in between, but we can't all be Tyra Banks, Trevor.
It's an unsustainable business model.
And we're not doing a real news thing this week, Trevor, but the only thing I wanted to do is call this a heads up. This isn't news. This is a heads up.
Okay.
Our good friends at Telecom are putting up a very special live stream of a Gorillaz concert. I can't remember. Is this in Cologne? I think this is in Cologne. And that's on the 20th of June. And it's going to be presented in 360, Trevor.
Very, very cool. Just like the Spirit House video.
That's on YouTube. So go to YouTube, Telecom, Gorillaz, Live 360. The stream's already up, but it won't be until the 20th at 9:30 CET, whatever the fuck time zone that is. So
now that we've got through that, let's talk about why we're here today.
Okay, we didn't want to just do a stupid "we're sorry, goodbye." We wanted to give you something to talk about for a week, right?
Right, and you know, we spent the entire season finale last episode talking about our favorite Gorillaz songs and why we love the Gorillaz album so much. And I think to bring a kind of counterbalance to that, we're going to do this little episode about the worst Gorillaz song.
Very Dow. It's very Dow of us to do this.
Or rather, our least favorite Gorillaz song.
That makes sense, yeah. Worst maybe being a relative term. We even had a listener say, like, when are you guys going to do your 10 worst? That seems like too much negativity to spend a whole full episode.
Buddy, there's got to be something wrong in your life that you got to fix if you can find it in your heart to dislike 10 Gorillaz songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to address some stuff going on with you.
So let's get the rules out of the way, because we're not just going to both say "Don't Get Lost in Heaven" demo and then say goodnight.
Right. We decided to cut a bit of the low hanging fruit before we took this under. Yeah.
We've pruned the obvious lower 1%. Let's say. I think that anything that you consider to be like a meme of a bad Gorillaz song,
right,
is
of course,
kind of off the table here.
And so was like intro from Demon Days, I think. Did we cut Glitter Freeze?
Interludes and intros, and I'd say even outros. There's really only one that I can think of, but yeah.
Did we go all the way and decide to take Glitter Freeze off the table as well?
I think we should take Glitter Freeze and White Light off the table. I think both of them should be off the table.
Yeah, because those are the easy, boring answers.
Because it just wouldn't be interesting for us to say that, yes, obviously they're not as good as their fellow album tracks, you know?
But did you arrive at what you think the worst Gorillaz song is? The worst Gorillaz album cut?
You know, I did. I was trying to handle this scientifically like I did my 10 favorite, Trevor.
Right.
And so I went and looked at my iTunes and saw, you know, it should stand to reason that whatever Gorillaz song is the worst to me would be the one that I've skipped the most when I listen to the albums, right?
That's a fair way to go about it.
And I looked at the data and I got that answer, and then I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going from the heart.
Right? You gotta. I'm
shooting from the hip this time.
It's not a scientific process.
You know, this is not necessarily the Gorillaz album track that I skipped the most, but I have my reasoning. I have my reasoning as to why it doesn't. How about you? Was it tough? Was it tough for you? Was this a rough thing to figure out?
Well, after we decided to take, so many of the obvious answers out of the picture, it was a little bit tough for me. It came down to a couple songs that were really neck and neck, but I just had to weigh each element of them together against each other. And I don't know. I don't think I was too surprised by the conclusion I arrived at, but I don't think you're going to be quite a fan of my choice.
Well, I wonder if you feel the same as me, Trevor. Because when I look at the song that I arrived at after all of this toiling, I would never say that I hate this song. I wouldn't even say that this is a bad song. I don't know where you stand with whatever you've arrived at, but I kind of feel like before I cast all of these aspersions onto this track.
And who are we to say whether music is good or bad? We're strictly talking about our own personal favorites.
That's so true. That's so true, yeah. Trevor. How do you want to get into it? What do you want to do? I have an idea. Let's flip a coin.
Okay, sounds good. Do you have a coin on you?
I do. I have a penny right here.
All right.
Okay, you want to call it before I flip?
I'm going to call Tails.
Okay, hang on.
My second favorite Sonic the Hedgehog character.
All right, I'm going to look. Okay, it's heads. I'm going first.
All right. Okay. I've been in suspense the last couple days.
Okay, if it was purely by the Gorillaz album's track that I've skipped the most, Trevor,
okay,
we would be talking about Rhinestone Eyes right now.
You know what? I that was one of the ones I was expecting you to say, honestly.
But
I
think that Rhinestone Eyes, there's too much effort went into Rhinestone Eyes. I feel like Rhinestone Eyes is an accomplished song that just grates on me a little bit.
I mean, it's a single.
So instead, I decided to look at the same album that gave us Rhinestone Eyes, and after much deliberation, I had decided that the worst Gorillaz album track, Trevor, is White Flag.
Whoa, really?
Allow me to get into why I feel this way, Trevor.
See, when you told me that it was another one from Plastic Beach just now, my immediate thought went to Welcome to the World of the Plastic Beach, because I remember you not being quite a fan of that one on our episode about Plastic Beach, but I don't remember you really having anything negative to say about White Flag.
Oh, I got some negative things to say about White Flag, Trevor.
All right, I'm buckled in.
Let's get into the two main revelations that I've had recently about this song. One of them was courtesy of you, my co-host, when you pointed out to me that there's something incongruent about what album Kano and Bashi seem to think that they're on.
Okay.
Do you remember bringing this up to me, Trevor?
I do, yeah, because their descriptions of Plastic Beach are that of a beautiful paradise, whereas, you know, in the rest of the Gorillaz canon, it is a floating heap of garbage.
Yes, they seem to imagine that there's beautiful ladies all over it, and, you know, lots of maxing and relaxing to be done, which is interesting. I just wonder if that was maybe a lack of communication on the producer part. But what it comes down to, Trevor, is that 20-bar Syrian orchestra section. And I always thought that it was two different takes of the same section. On closer inspection, it is the same exact take of that orchestral section, only the second one has been remastered to be boosted into a higher volume. That's so lazy. That is so lazy.
I always realized it was copy-pasted, like, right from the start.
That's so lazy. To me, what that feels like is, that feels unintentional. That feels like during the assembly of this record, they realized they didn't have the pieces that they needed, and they made a few last-minute choices to put that together. It's also the same recording that's on that extended version. What's that called again? Whirlpool or whatever it's called?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, first of all, best case scenario would have been write a different vamp for the intro and the outro. Write two different pieces of orchestra music. When that's not available, then at least use two different takes, or just cut one of them. So, and then the other thing I'll just throw out there, because I think it's the third issue that I have with this song. I think that Kano's verse is terrific, and I think that the verse between Kano and Bashi trading off is terrific. I think Bashi's verse is kind of a clunker. I think that he's goofballing it, and there's just one too many kind of like Castaway, Survivor, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. There's just like one too many of these upfront kind of big body references that he's dropping.
Can I tell you something that's always bothered me about this song?
Yeah, go for it.
It's when he says, I ain't lost and this ain't shipwrecked.
Yeah.
He's clearly supposed to be saying, this ain't lost and I ain't shipwrecked, right? Because then it's a reference to the TV show Lost.
And it's also a reference to the movie Shipwrecked, but yeah, I agree that that's weird, right?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So that opening Bashi verse, I think, is weak. The copy and pasting of the Syrian orchestra still bugs me. And I don't know, I feel like this feels so much more B-sidey to me than anything else on Plastic Beach. Even though that there's a lot of things that I do like about the song. I really like that bass line that happens sort of in the middle chunk of the song. And again, I think that Kano's work and their work as a team together is really strong. And I think, unfortunately, the way that was structured, you were kind of stuck with that Bashi opening verse, even if you didn't like it as a Damon Albarn producer, because you can't really extract one of them from that song, because the work that they do at the end is so good and is intertwined.
Right.
But yeah, after much deliberation, White Flag, I feel confident is the worst Gorillaz album track, with the asterisk of not including all those other songs that we're not including.
The man has spoken.
Trevor, I will accept your declaration, even though it sounds like it might cut a little deep, but I'm ready to hear it. What do you got for me?
Well, as you know, probably from our last episode, upon rediscovering and, going through all these albums once again in preparation for our reviews on this podcast, my opinions have changed a little bit on where the band's albums sit within their catalog.
I understand, yes.
And you were particularly surprised to see me rank the self-titled debut so low. I think the only one I put it above was G-Sides. And
I think that that it was definitely looming large over the last week that I expected there was a good chance that your pick this week would come from the self-titled.
Right. I revisited that album and I just found that a lot of those songs just don't really hold up for me anymore. When I was going through to pick my favorite Gorillaz songs, I just wasn't finding any on that record that really belonged to my list. But when I looked to that album, I did find one that belongs right at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for it, Trevor.
Well, I have one question to ask you, Dylan. Did you know that Gorillaz got the bass drum?
I knew it. I knew he'd do it.
Yeah, my least favorite Gorillaz song, I think I would have to say, would be M1A1.
It's not a surprise to me, but just in case the listeners have forgot, why does an M1A1 rub Trevor Ickrath the wrong way?
I don't know, dude. It's so fucking stupid. It's just, I don't know. It's everything I would not really want Gorillaz to be. It is like song 2, but like Gorillafied. And the main gripe I have about it is like, I can see it as a cool opener to the show, but it is the album closer on the self-titled. And if I don't like the album closer on like an album, it kind of detracts from the entire experience. You know what I mean? I don't get that sense of closure that I get from like Demon Days or even
right.
like Plastic Beach with Pirate Jet. That's a more satisfying closing than this like stupid rock out Gorillaz saying "What's up" tune.
Yeah, I understand. I think it's really hard for me as an M1A1 lover to give you any kind of non-emotional defense of those lyrics.
I know. It's not even the lyrics. It's really just, like, when I think about Gorillaz songs, there are probably some I dislike a little more based on their musical merits and, like, standalone songs than M1A1. But it's just the fact that M1A1 ruins that album for me. I mean, it doesn't ruin the album. It takes it down a couple scores. Let's
hear a little bit of love. Tell me 1 to 2 things about M1A1 that you do like.
Like the last couple seconds of the song?
Yeah, I do. Where it kind of like the last chord kind of sustains a little bit and
no, like the real last couple seconds of the song where it's basically over. I love that part.
You little cretin. What about the seriously nothing in that song you find to be charming?
Just Gorillaz as rock band is the most uninteresting form of the band for me. You know what? 5-4 was also kind of down there.
Well, you know what, Trevor? I guess what we've learned here is that we have opinions.
And hey, our differing opinions don't prevent us from coming together to create a great podcast.
And it should be mentioned that not only did I rank M1A1 as one of my 10 favorite Gorillaz songs, many of our listeners did, and many of our listeners ranked White Flag as one of their 10 favorites. So
sometimes I just feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
That's true. Just remember that there's somebody out there for everybody.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so Trevor, I have a pitch for our official sign-off phrase.
Oh, interesting. Maybe this would be a good time to get that done, right?
I figured, yeah. So let's do our little goodbye, and then you say, after I do the phrase, you say approved if you accept it.
Okay.
And if you don't, you'll say no.
All right. But hey, before we go, Dylan, I know I'm a year early, but I just wanted to say Happy Father's Day. We're recording this on Sunday, June 18th. It's Father's Day. Dylan's got one in the oven.
Yeah, it sort of seems like a really cheap cash-in to celebrate it because I've barely sacrificed anything yet. But sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. All right. So let's bid our listeners adieu and see what you've come up with for this.
Okay. Until next time, my name is Dylan Flynn.
My name is Trevor Ickrath.
Get through the week. Sometimes it's hard.
What is that from?
It's from Stylo.
Oh, sometimes it's hard. Yeah. No. Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.